Hello everybody and welcome to today's video on Venus entering Aries. We are here live and we're going to go through in this video what Venus entering Aries, this happened technically last night, like around midnight. But nevertheless, it is still an active transit in the sky. So in this video, we're going to talk about what it means. What does it mean for Venus to be in Aries? And what does it mean for you? What does it mean for your sign of the zodiac? So that being said, I have to tell you something, and that is that there is a reading sale. There is a reading sale happening now, right now. And to get in on it, you would need to book. Oh, okay. I'm just realizing my sound is messed up. Sometimes it does this where it like doesn't pick up the mic like. Okay, I'm going to see if maybe that's working. Maybe. All right, so I will be checking that. And while I'm checking that, there's still a sale and it's still good and you still need to know about it, because if you don't, you will, you want to book it soon. I mean, I know like my next week is already pretty much full. So if you're trying to get in on that, I recommend doing it sooner because they do book up pretty fast. And I'm going to check this again. Okay. I'm just going to have to fiddle with the audio for a second here. Okay, I'm gonna keep fiddling with it until I fix it. Hey Alexa, hey to anyone else who's here. Hello in the chat to everyone. Hey Courtney. I know you guys can hear me, but it doesn't sound good. I can hear the background. It's not supposed to be like that. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to just switch it. I was using these other ones earlier and they were not as good, but hold on. Wait. Oh, wait, I think I got it. I think I got it. King Capricornio, your Venus likes mystery. Okay, so we are going to start now. For those of you who are just jumping on, we're covering Venus in Aries and what this transit means for you. And we're going to go through all signs of the zodiac, starting with Aries, going through Pisces. Thank you for those who were here online and hung in with me through the sound issues. We're ready to go now. And before we get started, I want to let you know I have a reading sale going on right now. They are 50% off through the 10th of February. That's only 6 days away. So if you want to get in on that, there is a link in the description where you can go to my website and you can book it. You can choose the time and do it all right there at once. So that is what you need to know. And we are going to get into this video on Venus. Now, I'm going to talk about Venus entering Aries. Technically, this did happen like last night, like midnight Pacific time. So we're still in like basically the first day of this transit. And it's going to last until it's kind of an interesting one because Venus will go retrograde. Let's go through that actually. Let's go ahead. I think it's the 30th of No, it's March 1st. March 1st, Venus is still going to be in Aries and she'll retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries. And then she will stay in Aries until, I think it is, let's see. I thought I knew this, but I don't. She's going to stay in Aries until, I'm going backwards, not forward. Don't ask me why. Oh, I'm on hours. Hold on, I gotta be smarter than the software, which I'm not. I'm not even gonna pretend. Okay, so technically, this transit of Venus just being in the sign of Aries is gonna last until the 22nd of March, but then she'll come back. And when she comes back, I think that's going to be April 30th. Yeah, and that day is when she'll re-enter Aries, and that's when she goes back into Aries and will keep going like normal. So I will say from personal experience that I did dye my hair during a Venus retrograde, and I did regret it for a very long time. So that, sometimes when they're really superstitious, you guys, I don't believe them. So that one I would say, doing any kind of like Venus things like getting married or having like a beauty procedure or something during a retrograde. I would not do that personally, but I'm going to leave that up to you what you want to decide. Just know I have been the person who tried to prove that wrong. Could not. Okay. So we're going to go on to our regular programming for the day, which is going to be me telling you based on your sign of the zodiac what you can expect when Venus enters Aries. And this is one to pay attention to. For those of you who follow my channel, I don't always cover every single Venus entering every single sign. But when a planet enters a sign where it's going to go retrograde, sometimes that day we get some kind of foreshadowing, or around those few days before or after, we have something happen that is related to what the Venus retrograde is going to do. So that could be anything, right? It can be the themes of Venus, which is love and money, relationships and finances, and just ease and pleasure and perfume and, our sensuality and things that we enjoy in life, and the taste of the food and the sound of the music and the art on the wall and things that are aesthetically pleasing, and anything else Venus rules that's like important to your life. Like if you sell wine, Venus rules wine. If you don't sell wine, that's not for you, right? So we have to think about, in order to really do good astrology, we have to think about like what Venus things are in our life, and we have to know what Venus means in order to really know that. And I know a lot of you guys know, some of you guys know more than I do about everything. So I'm not even judging, but it's good to pay attention to all those things. Now, Venus in Aries as a general thing is like the thrill of the chase. It's like a motorcycle ride. It's like bright red lipstick. It's like impulsive love, right? It's like a sudden connection. It's Does that mean everyone has sudden connections during this time? Not necessarily, because some of you are married and some of us, that's not the season of our life. It doesn't make sense. But could you have the Venus area of your life move forward in more of an Aries kind of a way? Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about today and what that means for each sign, because for each sign, Venus is going to rule something different in your life, a different house. So that's called house rulership. I talked about that in one of my last courses. And let's get into what the video is about, which is Venus entering Aries for all signs of the zodiac. And we're going to start with Aries. So what do we got here for Aries? We have Venus entering your first house. They say that this is when you are your most beautiful or good looking. Okay. So if you're someone who wants to get headshots or something, I would say do it when Venus is getting close to your ascendant, not after. Like when it's before your ascendant, not when it's after your ascendant in the first house. But I digress. Venus left your 12th house. So it's been in your 12th house where Venus helps you enjoy yourself by yourself when it's in your 12th house. When Venus is in your first house, it helps you enjoy your body and your appearance. Now that might be because you're working out and you like the way it feels. It might be because you get a new hairstyle or something. But it might just be that the focus during this time is a little bit more on how you look, a little bit more on how you're coming across. And just in general, that first house is, again, it's your body and it's your appearance. So, that really is kind of what that is. Now, let's consider what houses Venus rules for Aries. We have the 7th house and we have the 2nd house. So let's talk about money. Money and love, Aries, money and love. When it comes to finances, Venus entering your first house might make you more quick to spend money on your own body, on your own self, on athletic things, on some kind of adventure, or on just you and your life direction. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. I'm not saying this is the time to spend money, but wherever your money planet is what you're probably spending your money on or you're thinking about investing in at this time. So it really is like your money helps you look a certain way. Okay. And that could be like you're buying new glasses or something, right? It doesn't always have to be, just because it's Venus doesn't mean you're doing it to be stylish or fashionable. It's just you're doing a Venus thing. Okay. So that's the money side of it. I wouldn't say, when it comes to the retrograde, I wouldn't say this is like the best time to spend money. There might be something that changes with your finances today or yesterday or something that's like important that you'll revisit at the end of the month in March 1st when Venus goes retrograde and you'll be going back over. I'm not saying you don't do that thing, but if there has been any kind of financial loss, it doesn't mean there has to, but if there has been, maybe today would be the day you see it on your credit card statement or something. And then, or let's make that more broad, because not everyone has a loss, but it does give me the feeling of like going over something that was a loss or a challenge during Venus's stay in Pisces. And now, maybe it was like you went on the best date of your life and you spent too much money, right? It could have been a positive thing that you were like investing in, and now you're like, okay, I can't be spending like that all the time, or something else like that, where there's an adjustment to the pace, especially of your spending. And you're like, oop, I can't spend on that right now. I did a little too much when Venus was in the 12th. I wasn't paying attention. Neptune was there. I didn't want to think about money. Okay, that's what I would probably think here. Now let's consider the relationship side of Venus being in the first. This could give you a more like a temporary feeling of self-definition based on those around you. I am a friend of this person. I am a lover of this person. right? So you can feel like your identity is tied up with some of your best friends or your significant other during this one. Now, let's say you don't have a significant other. The seventh house is just going to be other people who are like eye to eye with you, not your bosses or your parents, but like any other like friend type people, friend type people. And if you don't have friend type people, then because there's more of a one-on-one element, and it can be, I've seen in my life, the seventh house people are not always friends. Sometimes they're just people I'm dealing with, people I see a lot. People you see a lot might be coming over or coming to you, or you might be coming to them, or there just might be more dealings, right? Because Venus is a social planet, so it's going to make you more social in this next month or so. But there might be some kind of adjustment or change to how you're socializing toward the end of the month when Venus goes retrograde. Okay, so that is what I have for Aries. Feel free to let me know if you feel like that makes sense. And we're going to go on now to our Tauruses. For Taurus, Venus is you. Okay, Venus is you, and Venus also is entering your 12th house. So even though the 12th house kind of gets a bad rap, there are reasons for that. There's good things that can come from Venus in the 12th. Your spiritual stuff can be more enjoyable. Things that you do by yourself can be more enjoyable. Pleasure in private is the keyword of Venus in the 12th. And at the most extreme, secret lovers. But for Taurus, this feels a little bit more like you're enjoying your solitude, or you are in more solitude during this time. You might not be enjoying it because you're Venus. You might just be there. You might just be at your house and everyone's gone for a little bit. You might just be in a time doing something at work where you're working more behind the scenes, or something else like that where you just have more privacy. You could just be meditating more and connecting with your own psychology more, doing some more therapy this next couple weeks, next month, this month, doing some more journaling or meditating or anything that is like your spiritual practice. Tauruses could be doing that this month. Now, what else can be happening? Well, we also want to look at the sixth house ruler in the 12th. So this means your daily habits are more private. Your daily habits are more personal, and your daily habits, you might enjoy them more in private. It does give me the vibe of like your roommate's gone, you're walking around naked, or just like, doing stuff you wouldn't normally do, and just like enjoying it, like putting on your favorite music and blasting it, or just like doing other things to it's like enjoy your day-to-day stuff, but enjoy it in a way that's like really personal to you and private to you and behind the scenes. So that's one part of it. Another part of it could be that the stuff you're dealing with and the problems that you're solving right now in life are related to psychological fears. Maybe you have some kind of psychological fear, but it's like, if that's it, this is not advice or anything, but if it's something like that, this would be having the space to explore, like, what am I really afraid of? Am I afraid of my own personal power with, it coming into a sextile with Pluto in the 10th? Am I afraid to take charge of my own life? Like really seeing some of those kind of things could be a possibility. It could also be that you're just like doing workouts or something that are more you're doing by yourself, more like maybe you are lifting weights in your room or somewhere, in your own home gym or something, or something that is more private than normal for you. I don't know what you got going on, Taurus, but I would say that it might be also a time where you're reflecting on what needs to change in your life in general, because Venus is you in the 12th house. You're going to be more contemplating, and it's going to go retrograde. So it's like there might be some realizations or some thoughts right now about your life direction, what's working, what isn't working. If today or yesterday, Taurus, even just since you woke up this morning, we'll keep it simple. On Tuesday, this is Tuesday that I'm doing this video. If you're feeling more aware of things that haven't worked out, more aware of the topic of loss, more aware of grief, more aware of, things that are like, oh, I don't want this to be like this. This is a problem I need to solve. And you're thinking about it. Maybe by the end of the month, March 1st, when Venus retrogrades, there might be some more thinking about it more seriously at that point. So this could be like the foreshadowing of what's happening. Now, for some Taurus, it could be that you're in some kind of recovery mode. Okay, now do not get all scared that you're going to get hurt or something, but because recovery can be like recovering from a fear, recovering from a addiction or something, right? Like, I'm not pronouncing anyone this, but it could be recovery mode, like getting more support for something that you're trying to recover from. Okay, so there could be some good things with Venus here. We're going to go on now to, whoops, I kept it on Aries. I can't tell you how many times I'm going to do that. I'd say I'll never do it again, but I'd be lying. Okay, we're going on to our Geminis. Okay, Geminis, we have Venus in the 11th, which is nice. Okay, Venus in the 11th, that is one of the really good houses. So a social house. Geminis, as of Tuesday, the 4th of February, might be being more social. Some of you might just be dressing up and going out in front of your friends or going out with friends and just, looking your best. Some Geminis out there, you might just be enjoying other people, enjoying groups, enjoying fun stuff, going to do something fun and exciting. And it's simply that, going and watching a Daredevil car show or something. That's very, Venus in Aries is very like, there's a risk taking element. So you might just be at some point during this next month witnessing something like that in your life. But we want to think about, what does Venus rule? It rules the 5th house of fun. So having fun with other people, putting your art or your creative stuff, if you have any, publishing it, putting it out on display, or the topic, if you have art or if you have your own business or you have a creative hobby, or you have anything you write or you create or you make, whether it's for a business or for just your own pleasure, the topic of publishing that, not publishing, but like, I should do an art show, or I should go and do this like paint and sip, or I should go and, like you see people at like events where they're like painting and that's like they're showing up as the painter at the event or something, right? Like being your creative self in a public way, or putting your creation out there in a public way. Or if you have kids, your kids doing something that makes them more visible, more around friends right now, more social. Those could all be things that are happening. We also have Venus ruling the 12th house, which means for Geminis, maybe you're doing groups of spiritual stuff. Maybe you're doing like meditation groups, or maybe you're doing, maybe you're doing like, group meditations, or like just things that are bringing your normally private spiritual things into public. Okay, so that could be you being like, I always do tarot by myself. Let me go to a tarot class, right? Or it can be something where you're just, having a more social experience, doing a meditation, going to a meditation group, or any kind of whatever you do that's spiritual. And this could also fall under like the topic of therapy, like going to a group. Some people do like group therapy, right? So some Geminis, and you're not all going to do group therapy, right? That's just going to apply to those that would make sense in your life right now. But really, the fifth house is anything you enjoy. So if you like eating pizza, maybe you're going to like a pizza convention, right? Of course, I'm making this up, but it's really taking something you enjoy or taking something that is like psychological practice or a spiritual practice and then putting it out, either putting it out for the public, considering what to do to make it for public consumption, or doing, let me think. Yeah, or something along those lines. Okay. But Venus in general in the 11th can kind of just bring more ease and fun and enjoyment to your social life. If you're a Gemini who's been wanting to get out of the house or been wanting to go do something social that's like a little bit challenging for you or like a next step, now would be actually a really good time. But then again, you may also find that there's something happening today that sort of foreshadows the need for a change or the need to go back and review something related to topics of the 12th house or the 5th house. So those could be things like gambling or self-employment, pleasure, fun, children, creativity. That's kind of the 5th house vibe, entertainment, kids. Yeah, I said that. Or 12th house stuff, which is like things you do in isolation, your private, like isolated places, like hospitals and prisons and hospitals, prisons, monasteries, places people go to recover, getting sober, treatment centers, things like that. Anything you go do to recover. Or people that you rely on to support you to go through psychological, spiritual, or even sometimes mental health stuff. I'm not diagnosing anything here. But then taking all of those things, any of those topics that might relate to you, only the ones that relate to your life right now, and considering this might be a foreshadowing for something by March 1st that you realize needs to change, or you don't even realize it, but then you have to go back and redo something. So like if you're an artist and you just brought your art to a show, then maybe by the end of the month, you're going back and being like, okay, people didn't like the big stuff. They only like the magnets. So I'm going to make a bunch of magnets or whatever. I mean, take that, and obviously that's not everybody. Just apply that to what works for you. Okay. So the next one is going to be Cancer. So we have Cancer, and we have Venus entering your 10th house. Now this could be more enjoyment at work. Okay. It can be just nice music. It can be a nice fragrance. It can be something else that's enjoyable. You get to work with someone you really like. There's more laughter and fun and jokes and just, things that you enjoy. Now, it could also be bringing a Venus element that isn't necessarily your favorite thing, but just represents Venus. It could literally be there's wine at work, like your boss is giving away bottles of wine, or I don't know, something else that's like a Venus thing just kind of shows up in your work life. But then some other things that can happen, Venus in the 10th, you can also like just be focusing on the aesthetic part of your public image. So if you're job searching, maybe it's making your resume look pretty and getting it on the nice paper or something. And then if it's like, or like the alignment and the aesthetic of it. If you're at a job, maybe you're working on the brochure that the company is going to put out. It may not be you directly working on the visual thing, but that the visual thing or the way that the company comes across, or if it's you, the way you come across as a job seeker or as a business, is at the forefront and at the topic right now. So like maybe some Cancers who have businesses might be thinking about rebranding during the Venus retrograde. But that's not going to be everyone. So we need to look at now what Venus rules. So that's your 4th house and your 11th house. So Venus ruling the 4th house is going to be, the fourth house is like it's a few things, right? It's your home, your family of origin, and your emotional foundation. So when your emotional foundation is at the top of the chart, it's most visible. Your feelings, your deeper feelings are most visible. That could be because you're making them that way, or it could be because there's something going on where people can just see how you feel about something, and that might be good or bad. There can also be the topic of emotional foundation, feeling okay in your own skin. How you feel, whether you're aligned with your life or not, is the most, I wouldn't say visible like everyone else is going to see it, but it's prominent. It's important. You might want to start something new right now that is going to make you feel good. Like anything, right? It could be you want to start waking up 10 minutes earlier because you'll feel so much better. Or, you want to start, I don't know. It doesn't have to be, though, like journaling or meditating or some huge thing. It could just be some kind of little new beginning when it comes to how you feel, or that's kind of it when it comes to how you feel. Now, I would stay tuned to see what happens around March 1st for because that's when Venus will go retrograde. So there might be a change at work. There might be a change with home, especially if, today is bringing up things related to home that have the potential to change. There might be something going on there, like if you have a roommate situation, a change with that especially. But even if you don't, if home is a topic, like you want to sell a house or you want to move or you need to fix something in your home or there's something else like that that's pressing, then pay attention to what's happening today, because there might be something else happening on the 1st where you're going back and redoing it. Like if you start building a new deck today, then you might find that by March 1st, something has to you have to go back over something. It might be something, though, that you're planning on going back over. Like maybe you stain the deck and then you seal it and there's going to be time in between, right? It doesn't always have to be going over because it's a catastrophe. Okay, now let's consider Venus also ruling your 11th house, which is a really nice positive house. And it's in the 10th. So this is like your hopes and dreams. It's also like your community. So it really could be that people are stopping by the office who normally don't. You're seeing people who you normally don't see. There's more of a community aspect to your work at this time. And if that's the case, I would expect that to continue through February. But if it's not community, the 11th house is also like just like more social. So I'm guessing that your work is a little more social. But it doesn't feel like it could be like you going out, but it feels a little bit more like the social energy is coming to you on this one, Cancer. So that's kind of how I feel about this one for Cancer. All right, so going on to Leo. For Leos, we have Venus in the 9th. So Venus in the 9th can bring a enjoyment of the quest, where you learn some spiritual truth and it builds on itself and it kind of usually gives you a love. People with this natally have this love of like God or the universe and learning about it. And they have they could always learn more, right? They could always go on another spiritual journey. They could always do another tarot reading. They could always, go deeper into understanding the next steps on your spiritual path and finding the tools that help you do that, whether it's in more of a religious way, more of a spiritual way, or even more of a, let's say someone's an atheist, in a way that's about finding your path in life, right? Now, there's other things you can enjoy in the 9th house, a course, a book, something like that. And let's consider, though, that Venus rules your 3rd house and your 10th house. So the 10th house is going to be, it's possible you could be learning for work, or you could be trying to take a course or a certification that you know is going to help you have better chances of getting a certain job you want or something like that. So Leos might be doing that. For other Leos, it's your work could take you somewhere or take you on a little journey. Again, your work could require learning or more in-depth reading on something, or teaching. You know, you could be teaching something for your work as well, just depending on who you are watching this. And yeah, so, but it can also be a time where you're considering whether your work is really meaningful. And if that's the case, I think you'll get more questions once Venus goes retrograde. That's going to be March 1st. So it's the beginning of this path where we're going to see more changes up ahead. Okay, now on to the third house. Now this could be, for some of you, this would be your car. You take a long trip during this time. Others of you, this could be, the third house is like your local environment, but the ninth house is like far off places. So, I don't know, something you normally go to in your local environment is gone. You know, like I don't know, like a restaurant you normally go to, they're on vacation. Okay, that's really specific. So let's go broader here. For the third house, it's what you know and it's communication. And then it's going into the ninth house of like spirit, you know? So it's almost like if you would write a letter to your higher power, you know, or you're like saying prayers, or, you know, like putting that third house of your thoughts and your words into the spirit, into the sky, into spirit, you know, like making an offering or making a prayer or making a request or something, but it has a feeling of going out to the universe, more than anything. So take that one if it resonates. It might not be for everyone, but overall, I would say that, you know, the biggest thing I would say for Leos at this time is an upcoming, maybe not total career change, but an upcoming thing that might have to be gone back over relating to career. And, you know, it could be anything depending on you. So that's as personal as I can get on that because it's a general reading. So let's go on now to our next sign, which is going to be Virgos. Oh, Courtney says, wow, so many people stopped by my desk today. Super on point. All right. So Virgos, let me get your little caption up here. And let me get our chart up. Okay, so Virgo's Venus enters the 8th house of sharing, of debt, of other people's money, of combined resources, money from self-employment, and psychic ability, the other side, sex, intimacy, sharing. That's what comes to mind first. So Venus entering the 8th can make it a little bit easier to get close to people. If there's someone you want to get close to, Venus might help. Venus might help you put down walls if you have any walls. It might help you to just kind of, maybe you learn someone's secret. Maybe someone learns yours. Maybe people get to know you a little better starting now. And it's not like, it might not be that. So this is just one of the things. If you're someone who gets like psychic information or does your own readings, this might be a good time to do them because it's like the thinning of the veil, right? The veil is easier to permeate during this time. And I would definitely be aware of any like dreams you're getting or any messages and just kind of create space for that intuition because Venus in the 8th could allow for some great connection to the other side. If that's something you want. If you're looking for intimacy, Venus in the 8th could help that as well. Although, it's complicated, but it does feel like in general, Venus will make this area of your life easier. It will make it easier to Get really close to people, okay? Okay. Share with people. Let people know you. Let down your guard. Be vulnerable if that's appropriate to the situation. I'm not saying it necessarily is, but just that if there are situations where you're wanting to do that or you could use that, Venus will help. Now, Venus rules your second house and your ninth house. So let's start with the ninth house being the house of God and Venus being in the eighth house. Again, this is a really good time for getting psychic information, journaling out, what you need to do about something, going to a source that is not you for something like, excuse me, like again, it's like the other side of the veil. And what else is it? There's more here. Okay, so first of all, the ninth house is like your quest and your path to God. It's also like astrology and learning deep information and, knowledge, intuition. And then the eighth house is like, yeah, it just, all I can keep getting over and over is like you getting messages. So this would be a good time to just do whatever you do in your life to prepare for those or to receive that stuff if you want it. Now, let's talk about the money side of it because the second house ruler is Venus for Virgo. So that means what is your money doing? It's going into the eighth house, which could be good or bad, right? Because that could mean you're spending money on something that is like a debt or a bill. It could be that there's an awareness like it could be easier to get money from others. Someone could give you money. It's not, this isn't like second ruler in the eighth is not like the best financial transit of your life unless you have other planets that would make it make sense. But it does feel like if Virgos need help, Venus in the eighth is like maybe someone will help you. Maybe someone gives you a little bit of something. Why? Because the eighth house is what other people bring to us. And what are other people bringing to you with Venus? They're giving you perfume. They're giving you wine. They're giving you hair stuff. They're giving you other things. They're getting you a haircut. They're giving you clothes. They're giving you something to make yourself look beautiful or to smell good or something, right? Or let me think of what else second ruler in the eighth can be, because it can also be you investing in eighth house stuff, you investing in intuition development, you spending money on Netflix so you can watch a serial killer documentary or something, you paying for Gaia or something like that, something that like maybe something even more deep, you getting like a membership to like a esoteric school that teaches you spells and stuff or something, right? So it's like you putting your money toward an eighth house thing. Oh, I already know what mine is. I know what mine is. I love it when that happens. Okay, but you're putting your money toward an eighth house thing that helps you to maybe learn a system of some kind of spiritual tool or get closer to spirit or do mediumship or do something else that is like your way of connecting with the other side of the veil. Whatever that is, it's going to be personal to each person. Okay, so this one really could just be like you get a book on something that's like super spiritual and out there that's like you've been wanting to do. You've been wanting to do channeling. You've been wanting to do some other thing, right? So it could be something like that that's a little more on the day-to-day stuff, but pay attention to what is coming up right now related to your spiritual practices, your intuition, and also financial stuff, because there might be something else coming up at like March that you're going back and redoing it. You might be doing something now for the first time, and then later it's like, oh, that has to be redone, or you didn't pay the right payment to the bill company. It has to be a different amount, or something else that has to be gone over again. And that, it doesn't have to be tragic, but whatever's happening today, the next couple days, might be worth just, putting a little note on that because we're not done with this topic. Okay, so that's what I have for Virgos. We're going to go on now to the next sign, which is going to be our Libras. Dolly, yeah, it can be the stock market. The eighth house can be investments, especially things like stocks where it's your money is combined with other people's money. But yeah, it can. I would say the fifth house and eighth house both cover risk taking in different forms. But the eighth house is like not just the stock market, but like when you have investments that are going to get, any kind of investments where you're going to get more money later. Anything like that would also be eighth house, yes. Okay, going on to Libras. Let me get the right thing. And we have Venus in the seventh house. Well, this is nice because it can bring a focus on relationships, but also Venus is you because you're a Libra rising. So where are you? You're with others. Okay, so the others you're with could be a significant relationship, but it could also be just other people, and that things in the life of Libras right now that relate to other people are more of a focused topic. You could be starting something with someone today or the next couple days. You could be doing something with somebody. I mean, that's really what I would feel for this. Doing something with somebody. That really does feel what it is. But it could also be you're focusing on relationship stuff. And maybe if you're single, it's like, okay, I want a relationship. Maybe I'll go to do this, this, and this. But then maybe something will come up related to that around early March. If that's not happening, it's you working with others in general, right? It can be in your work where you're partnered up with someone, or something else where you're like working in collaboration with people. Or if you do things that are one-on-one normally, like you normally have one-on-one clients or something, well, then maybe those experiences are a little bit sweeter. Maybe you have a really nice, easy to work with client, or if you're acting, you have a easy to work with partner, you're dancing, right? Or whatever you're doing, it's like you just have someone who's making it a little bit easier, right? And it could really be something as literal as your coworker starts bringing donuts every day, and it's like you're just enjoying life being just a little bit sweeter, okay? So it could be, it doesn't always, seventh house transits aren't always relationship stuff because we all have a seventh house and we're not all always in a relationship. Okay, so there's that. Now we have to consider, I talked about Venus being you. Venus also rules your eighth house. So eighth house ruler in the seventh, this would be like, let me think. It could be something really straightforward and basic, like you're meeting with your accountant. Okay, you're meeting with a tax advisor. You're meeting with somebody or working with somebody on something that has to do with money or joint resources, or something like that. So that could just be what it is. Or let's consider the eighth house being like a little bit of psychology, a little bit of occult, a little bit of niche interest, a little bit of intimacy, and any of those topics coming up when it comes to other people. Maybe you make a friend at a psychic group. Maybe you are dealing with something difficult, maybe even someone else's difficult crisis going on. That could actually be a thing, but then like you make a friend out of it. It may not even be your crisis. It could be someone else in your life having some kind of problems, and you have a relationship or you have a friendship that's built out of that, or a connection that is built out of that. That's another thing that could happen. That won't be everyone. And if you're someone who does psychic work, like you read tarot or you do readings of any kind, then you might find that you are doing readings on people. You're doing readings for others. That could be another thing that happens. So those are the things that I see possible during this transit for Libras. Let's go on now to our Scorpios. All right, whoops. Okay. Yes, so for Scorpios, Venus enters the 6th house. Venus going into the 6th house can make your day-to-day life a little bit sweeter. Okay, so this is one where you can literally eat more sweets, but it could also be you're just enjoying your chores. You're like listening to your favorite music while you do the dishes. You're enjoying the stuff you have to deal with. Maybe the problems you're solving in life right now are problems you actually like solving. You know, like you have a bunch of papers to file at work, but you love filing. It's a nice little break from your other stuff or something along those lines. Now, for some people, maybe your workload just eases up a bit, or there's something else about work that makes it more enjoyable right now. And that could, that's going to vary depending on who you are watching this. And let's think about what Venus rules. It rules your 12th house and it rules your 7th house. So maybe some other people right now help Scorpios to do stuff like someone's helping you wash your car. Maybe someone's painting your house with you. Maybe you have friends who are just like doing something with you, helping you move or something like that. That would be the one thing that comes up for that. And then for the 12th house ruler in the 6th, now this can be happening where you have some kind of spiritual belief or spiritual practice, but you're trying to bring it into your daily life. Like maybe you believe in like shifting your awareness to out of your body. And then you're like, let me fix this. Like you believe in like that. Okay. And you're just like, that's the thing you're working on. And then now you're like, I'm going to try doing that at work and see what happens. We're taking some kind of spiritual concept, spiritual belief, something you learn in private or you practice in private, but you're like actually applying it to real life problems. So it's almost like the theory of, oh yeah, I believe in forgiveness, but like when I'm at the place to eat, am I going to just have patience? Like, do you believe in really forgiving everyone? Or like certain practices, if you believe whatever you believe and like taking that spiritual thing and infusing it into a chore or work. So it's almost like a Reiki infused oil and then you're selling the oil, or like, just taking something that you learned in therapy or you learned from some kind of YouTube video about psychology. And now you're like, oh, maybe if I try that when I'm talking to someone, it'll, like it has the vibe here of like, we're taking the knowledge, the psychological insight or the spiritual values, and we're putting them into practice. So that could be something going on for Scorpios at this point. Yeah. So, okay. So, yeah. And then, yeah, I'm just trying to think of other ways Venus in the 6th, you might enjoy it. Like, again, you could just like enjoy working out, enjoy lifting weights, be listening to your favorite podcast while you're going for a walk or something where it's like the day-to-day grind. There's something that's making it a little bit sweeter right now. Okay, so that's what I think for Scorpios. Let's go on now to Sagittarius's. Okay, so Sagittarius has Venus in the 5th. So Venus in the fun house is kind of like a nice one for like dating, romance, flirting. If you're a Sagittarius and you're single, now might be a good time to just flirt. It's like if you flirt right now, you might get more out of it. Excuse me, you might be more charming. You can meet someone you think is hot today. Now, is that going to go anywhere? I don't know, right? This is a general reading. But there could be something going on where it's like, ooh, a little bit of romance, a little bit of attraction going on in the world of Sagittarius. Now, if it's not that, the 5th house is also pleasure and enjoyment. So Sagittarius could be starting a new habit or a new thing they just enjoy. And that could just be it. Like you're doing more of a thing you love. You're I don't know, like you like whatever you like, and now you go to a thing where you're doing it, or you're just playing more, or you're just like, I'm not trying to say, Sages, you guys are all like on cloud nine starting today and everything's perfect. But Venus in the fifth house is one to try to just squeeze the juice out of, okay? Because you guys already have a very ambitious desire to enjoy life with Aries on the fifth house. Every Sagittarius rising I have ever met in my life is on their way to do something fucking awesome. It's a cool ass work project they're going to. It's some camping thing they're going to. It's yoga class. It's just like, I love Sagittarius energy because you guys just squeeze the juice out of life and just live it to the fullest. So Venus here is like, hey, let's make this more easy. Even more than you already, it's already, you want to do it. Now Venus makes it easier and enjoyable. So it's like the camping thing you always do, even though I know it's February, so maybe that's not the best example, whatever, is like, oh, it's even more fun. There's an extra person there who's even telling better jokes than normal, right? So it can be like that. It can be just you infusing a little bit of comedy or fun or enjoyment into your life. And that can be, again, fifth house is dating and pleasure and like romance and sex. And so it can be that kind of stuff, but it can also be like your creative passion, your hobby, you're enjoying doing that more. You, maybe something begins, or, pay attention to what begins or bubbles up at this time related to your creative stuff, related to what you want to do with a business, related to, if you have one, like art or any kind of music or writing or anything creative you do like that today there's a new sort of energy around or a desire to start something. I would listen to that desire and know that if you are starting something like a new hobby or a new pastime or a new course or a class or anything you think is fun, in the next any time before March 1st, then you might be going back and going over that thing. So it's like, okay, you get this new book, you start studying it, you do the first thing it says, and you're like new at it the next month. And then you get to the part in the book where you realize all the stuff in the first part, you need to do some other things to it, that kind of energy. So just take it how it resonates. And just know that whatever fun thing or flirtation that's coming up right now, maybe more will be revealed around that, since Venus is going to go retrograde in Aries, go back into Pisces, and then come back. Okay. So now let's go on to our Capricorns. Wait. Did I talk about, no, I didn't. I got to talk about how Venus rules the 6th house and the 11th house for Sagittarius first. So for the 6th house, this is chores, work, problem solving. Problem solving helps you date, or your dates are, it's like you date someone who washes your car, or you date someone who's like doing acts of service for you, or maybe you're doing acts of service for them. And those could be any kind of acts of service. Okay. Let's move to the 11th house, where this is about community. And like, it really is like community and hopes and dreams. So it's like, maybe people are contributing to your happiness, right? Maybe there's certain people around that aren't normally around that are just bringing you more joy by connecting with them, right? And that could be in any capacity. It could be an online group you're in. It could be at work. It could be at home. It could be anything, any area of your life. There's just a little more fun in the community going on. So yeah, if that's happening, then that's happening. Okay, going on now to Capricorns. Okay, so for Capricorns, we have Venus entering the 4th house, which is when you can enjoy your private time. You can enjoy learning about yourself, because the 4th house is like the deepest part of ourselves. Sometimes it's like a therapy or like a psychology type of a transit, where it's like you get a new layer of self-awareness that is enjoyable to you, and you are like having fun, or feeling soothed in the learning process of that, feeling seen, right? Like getting an astrology reading, or like even like joining a group of like a psychology thing that like teaches you about something with yourself that you just didn't know before, and you're like, I know myself deeper now, and it just feels good, that kind of thing. Other things that can be happening with Venus in the fourth are like something beautiful or enjoyable in the home. So that could be you got some nice music, you got art on the walls. It's the vibe, you got the salt lamp, you got the diffuser out, whatever it is, you got the vibe going on in the house, and it just feels nice. You just enjoy being in it. And then, Venus in the fourth can also have to do with your parents or your family of origin, for those who that topic is an active part of your life right now. And if that's the case, it's like you talk to your mom or your dad and you're just like happy, you're just happy to hear their voice, or you're happy to spend time with family, happy to be at home more possibly during this transit. Now let's look at Venus ruling the 10th house and also ruling the 5th. Some Capricorns, if this makes sense for you, could just be working from home during this time. You could be taking a break from work, having a vacation, or just something about work causing you to have, or allowing you. Maybe work is going slower and you have more time at home, or maybe some of you are starting a new project at work today, and that is, it has nothing to do with home. Sometimes it'll be like that. Sometimes it won't, the transit won't always reflect the house it's in as much as the house that it rules. So Venus going into Aries, there's some exciting new project at work that maybe you don't feel ready for, but you got to do it. Or you're starting it now, and then in March, you'll be going back over what happened and like going back through things. And then, the fifth house ruler in the fourth kind of makes me feel like dating. It's like when you bring the date home for the first time, or if you're not dating and that doesn't make sense, it could be something creative or entertaining comes to your house, right? So like a dinner party, or like a even just like a movie or something, right? You bring entertainment into the house and you're enjoying it at home, or you're watching a sports or something, right? So that's kind of what I have. I mean, like, this is a time for Capricorns to enjoy their life at home, enjoy their downtime. It's kind of what it feels like. Okay, going on now to Aquariuses. Okay, before I go on, I just want to say, I want to show this one. Thank you to, is it Anna Ruda? Managed to keep it real but uplifting. Cool. I'm glad. Sometimes I don't know if I'm too real. But thank you so much. That's really my goal, is keep it real. Don't gas you up too far if it's not, really going to happen. And also, work through the energy without like scaring the shit out of everyone about Saturn either. Because I know how it feels to be on the receiving end of both of those things, right? I always get worried about my transits too, just like everybody else. So, and then Cora's here. Hello to everyone else who I haven't said hi to. And we're now on Aquarius. So we have Aquarius and then we have Pisces. And for anyone who didn't hear, if you weren't online earlier, there is a reading sale going on now through February 10th. So if you want to get in on that, now is a good time, because you will be able to, the sooner you book, the sooner you can get a time you like. They tend to book up pretty quick. My schedule fills up pretty fast. So that being said, let's get on to Aquariuses. For Aquarius, we have Venus in the third house. So that third house is like you enjoying your car. It's like you driving around, listening to your podcast or whatever, and just like, or singing to your music and just like digging the drive. It could also be you going on a little mini road trip, like a around town road trip kind of a thing. So that wouldn't be a road trip. That would be like a day, like a little day trip, or, like enjoying going to the grocery store. The third house is literally running errands. It's our local neighborhood. It's our talking and our communicating. People you run into, maybe Aquarius is today, the 4th of February, run into someone or have a really just lovely conversation with someone at the grocery store or some other errand you are running today. That could be what it is. That could be what it is. It could just be something very basic, very everyday that's happening that's just more enjoyable. Maybe a new restaurant or store that you love opens up in your neighborhood, or like construction stops and now it's more peaceful, right? It could just be a peaceful time in your local neighborhood, your block, your community, your little local where you go, like the places you drive every day. All right, but let's say it's more on the third house as like communicating and the things that you know. So like Venus can bring joy to communication. You can enjoy, I almost wanted to say the sound of your own voice, but I don't know why that's coming to me. It, like maybe some Aquariuses are making meditations and you're like trying to get the sound of your voice to sound good. Okay. Or maybe you're doing something like that where like the sound of your voice is actually a part of the deal and it's important. But it can also be that you are receiving communication that is nice, like good news, a nice email, a nice little card or letter or something. You get you find out you're getting more on your taxes than you thought, or, some other like piece of good news happening today for Aquariuses. And what else could it be? Yeah, again, your car, Venus, it could be like you making your car look better, you getting like your windows tinted or like something like that. That's like making your car more beautiful or making it smell good, or getting the stereo fixed or something. But third house can also be siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles. Not every Aquarius, that's going to be it, but some of you might be that. It might be you talk to or see one of those people and it's really enjoyable. And maybe this next month, you're able to see them more or they're more of a focus, and just enjoying time with them is on focus. Now, Venus also rules your 4th house of family and your 9th house of the quest. So 9th house ruler in the 3rd now makes me feel like it's more about communicating what you know in a lovely way, in a nice way, trying to communicate what you know in a way that other people are going to hear, in a harmonious way, but also willing to have conflict at the same time. So some Aquariuses today might be expressing like a contrary opinion in a really nice way or something along those lines. You might be having a nice debate with someone that's like, yeah, you're arguing, but you both like arguing. So it's fun. It's like a nice, friendly debate at your local bar or something. Although I think most of you don't go to bars. So I don't know why I always say bar. A lot of you are going to be more like at your local Whole Foods or your local crystal shop, or, something a little more in the vibe. Okay. So either way, and it could be you just like stopping somewhere you really like, you stopping at Bath and Body Works on your way home from work or something. It really can be just filling your commute with things you enjoy a little bit more. Getting sugar in your coffee if you normally don't, something like that. And then with it being the 4th house ruler in the 3rd, this feels more like, some of this might be family stuff coming up, but it can also be family meeting time, or family, if you have a family meeting, family communication time. If you don't have a family, the 4th house is still your home, and your home is affecting your local environment. So it's almost like, I don't know, or let's skip that. Maybe if you made a certain change to where you live, this would make sense. But if not, then it's probably more like you change something, maybe something changed about your home that affects the way you feel when you're on the way home or when you're leaving. Like I think of like I don't know, when you get like a garage door opener and it like opens from further away. Let me know, Aquarius, if this actually makes sense, because I get the feeling of like something that you do to your home that like fixes it or makes it even better when you're not there. Like putting a camera in, now you can see what your pet is doing, or like getting one of those little, what is it called when you have like a little speaker thing where people can talk, but it's when you're not there, you can respond to the, like when they come to the door, you know, something else like that. Now that's not going to be everyone, but some of you that might really be what it is. For others though, fourth house being that emotional foundation and the third house being communication, I would not be surprised if Aquariuses are either learning new communication for feelings or able to use communication techniques to express feelings, maybe discordant feelings in a way that is, you know, it just gives me the feeling of like trying to express how you feel in a healthy way. And maybe talking about something that makes you actually feel good talking about it, even if it's not the most positive thing. Okay? Okay, we're going to go on to Pisces now. All right. So then, okay, I want to answer this one too. I tend to get a doomsday mindset about things like Pluto, Saturn trends and such. Yes, yes. Thank you for that. I also do too, though. I do too. You should have seen me last year being like, in this astrology group I'm in, being like, Pluto's gonna square Mars. I'm screwed. Like, which it is, you know, Pluto's to me so far, sometimes Pluto will cause like an actual loss, not usually by itself. Usually by itself, Pluto brings something that you're afraid of and you have to face that fear, and it's hard stuff. It's like I realized that one of my parents was never who I thought they were. You know, it's like, or my brother stole $1 million from me, you know, or like other little things like that. Okay, going on now to our Pisces. Let me get our little sign up. And yeah, here we go. Pisces. Venus in the second house might bring a little bit of ease related to finances. It might just bring a little more money. It might make you feel more okay when it comes to money. So it might not be you're rich right now. It might be like, it might just be like you have more ease and more feelings of like it's going to be okay. It's going to flow related to finances. I say that because, yeah, Venus is in your second house, but it's in Aries where it's not like Venus isn't super happy there. So I can't predict that you're like, this will be the lottery win unless you have like Jupiter here or something. Then, you know, you might be having some good things going on. But overall, it is like a little bit more money or a little bit more ease. Like your job now, before it was part-time, now it's full-time. Before it was insecure, now it's secure. There's a security or that's just what I feel from this. Now some could be getting a sum of money at this time, but it could also be like you get a sum of money, but then you have to spend it, or you get a sum of money, but it's not as much as you thought. There could be a little bit of that going on here too. But sometimes remember the second house is also your stuff. So Venus in the second might not be you getting money. It might be you enjoying your stuff. It might be you buying one thing you freaking love and just being like, oh my God, I got this new thing and I'm just going to use it all the time. And I got a new couch and all I want to do is sit on it. It can have that feeling of like you enjoying the things you have. So it may not be a big spending transit. It might be a saving transit where you put money in savings, or it might be, again, like just enjoying the stuff you already have and you don't buy anything. Or even like polishing the furniture so it shines, and like, you know, just like, again, enjoying what you have. Okay. And then what else can we say? Venus in the second, with Venus ruling your your eighth house and your third house. Let's start with the third house. This is like, let me think. I don't know. It's like, I'm trying to put this together. I mean, the third house is communication, what you're saying. So you could be talking about money. You could be talking about Venus related stuff and how it relates to financial things. So you could be talking about how easy it would be to start a business. Like you could just be spending your time thinking about it or talking about it today. You could be thinking in your mind, especially on the 4th of February, about, wouldn't it be so nice if I started doing this financially and I stopped doing this other thing? You know, wouldn't it be so nice if I could just make money on the side and be a freelancer? You know, you could just be having this internal or external conversation about Aries, Venus and Aries, which is like starting something. Now, it might not be starting something to make money. It might be starting something to communicate a message to people or starting something to study. You might be thinking about what you want to buy so you can study something or learn something, or what course you're going to get next. And you might be making the purchase, or you might be just like, ooh, I know what I need. I need this next thing. I need to do this course. I need to go to the library and learn this thing, or, you know, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a book. It could be a class you want to take. It could be a workout you want to do. It could be anything that it's like, it would feel like a new thing that you're kind of curious about. Okay. So Pisces, what are you curious about starting, especially today, the 4th, that maybe the interest has bubbled up and now it's like, I really want to do that. You might not start it yet, or you might start it and then around the 1st, go back and kind of have enough information to go back over what you've learned. So I'll just give a random example. Fill this in with what makes sense for you. Let's say you start doing cross stitch and you buy a little kit. I used to do this when I was younger. Don't ask me why. My friend taught me. And I do have to have something to do with my hands. So anyway, I think I just imagine you get a cross stitch thing and you're doing it and you're doing it and you realize you did it wrong. This happens when you're doing it and you realize you missed a stitch. So then you have to like cut it and you pull the stuff out and you have to redo it. Okay. Why am I giving you a cross stitch analogy where you do it with your hands? Because it's the 3rd house. And it's like, there might be something you're starting that's like, it could be anything. It could be Pisces get a crossword puzzle and they start doing it. And then they realize, oh, it has to be redone because I messed up this word, or I thought this thing was this thing. Although that doesn't really fit with our analogy because it's something you'll be doing for about a month. Now, it doesn't mean don't start the thing. It means start the thing being curious, understanding whatever journey you're undertaking at this time is going to be a learning curve, and maybe don't spend all your money on it until you kind of see, like, get your bearings. There's a feeling here with the 3rd house ruler entering Aries where it's going to retrograde. There's a really strong feeling here of like, you're just going to learn this through doing it. And then you're going to have more information later and you'll be able to apply that later. It just does really have that feeling. And yeah, so what are you curious about, whether financial or otherwise? Now let's consider, which I haven't even talked about yet, this 8th house ruler in the 2nd. This one generally feels more financial. An 8th house ruler in the 2nd, some Pisces could get money from someone today. You get a deposit in your account. You get a kickback. You get a reward for your savings account that you didn't know you were going to get, or that you knew you were going to get. You get a discount on something you normally pay more for, or something else like that, where somebody else's money contributes to you having money. Okay, so if you have a business, it could be you just sell something and there's something significant about it that might change on the 10th. And it might not be, it's messed up and you have to go back and redo it. It might be like you're moving forward and then on the 10th you're like, okay, I have to restructure this, or like, now that I spent all of it, let me go back over and see what I spent my tax return on. Or, it doesn't always mean going back over in retrograde doesn't always mean bad. But because Venus rules the 8th house for Pisces, it might be going back over your communication or what you've learned or studied, or it might be going back over money you've spent or your taxes, or like taking a look again at your debt versus your income and trying to see how you can make that better. Those kind of things. Like you realize your 401k isn't saving as much as you thought it was, and now you're like, oh, I better put more in there or something like that, right? Could be anything. But I would kind of pay attention to what's happening. And I think I misspoke. I think I said when it goes retrograde on the 10th, it doesn't go retrograde on the 10th. It goes retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries on March 1st. So, whatever's happening now, pay attention to what's happening with your money, your communication, your marketing if you're a marketer, what you're selling if you have a business, and your spiritual intuition. Your intuition, your connection with the other side of the veil. If you read tarot, the stuff you're getting, maybe you start reading tarot, and then on the first you're like, oh, I was doing this in a way, there's a better way. Now I want to go back through and do the readings I did before again, now that I know this better way, or something. Okay, so just keep that in mind as we go, and know that Venus can bring ease to your finances, but sometimes it's easier spending. It makes it easy to spend, okay? Okay. Sometimes it makes it easy to receive though as well, so it just depends. Okay, so that is what I have for Pisces. And I'm just going to check the comments, and that will be it for today. So just so you guys know, there is a sale for anyone who wasn't here when I announced it earlier. There is a link in the description. You can book that now. I recommend booking it soon. The sale ends the 10th, and it's, first come, first serve. So if you want to get the time you want, sooner the better. Okay, Dolly says, when Pluto squares your outer planets, is it as bad as when it squares personal planets? My opinion is no, but also it depends. It depends on what Saturn rules in your chart. So let's say you're a Capricorn rising, it might be as bad because that means Saturn rules you. I will tell you that when Pluto hit my Saturn, I think Pluto hitting Saturn is one of those things where whatever your sort of foundation of reality is built on gets kind of, you realize it's wiped away. It gets kind of, you see the kinks in your own mental foundation of how your framework of life. But I've only gone through the conjunction, and I can say it was very much one of those things where I thought this person was going to be one way, and this was the moment where I was like, they're never going to be that thing I want them to be. And that belief that I had about that I like my whole identity and everything in my life was hinged on, turns out that was wrong. Turns out no. So yeah, I think in general, Pluto conjunct personal planets is hard, especially like the sun and the moon. But also, a lot of people go through tons of Pluto transits, right? Think about people born, I think about myself and other people born in like mid 80s, where Pluto was in Scorpio and a bunch of planets were in either Scorpio or Sagittarius. Those people had Pluto hit all those planets. So if you have like a Sagittarius stellium or a Scorpio stellium or a Capricorn stellium, and you were born when Pluto was in Scorpio, then in your early years, you would have had gone through so many Pluto transits that you're like, shit, what's another one? What's more change? What's more powerlessness? So some of us are more that, and sometimes that can help put it in perspective. If you know how to look and see what happened in your life the last time Pluto was conjunct a planet, that can help you. That doesn't mean, Dolly, that doesn't mean like, I mean, it does kind of affect you, but don't think that means it's gonna make Pluto squaring Saturn that much worse. I don't think it would make it that much. See, it already conjuncted all the cat planets. Yeah, so you'll be fine. If you've already had conjunct a bunch of planets, when Pluto squares, you'll be like, yep, that was another thing. You know what I mean? You have the tools to deal with Pluto energy already. And squares are bad, but I would say the conjunction is the most significant, strongest. Thank you, Dolly. Want to learn how to do spiritual coaching, animal communication, and a couple astrology courses. Can't decide. They start tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck. Okay, don't get scared. Don't get scared. Cora, I can't remember, do you have a Pluto squaring Saturn transit coming? Maybe you do. Maybe we talked about it. I have to be seeing the chart sometimes to remember. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Thanks to everyone who showed up today. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the super chats or super whatever. What are they called? Super stickers? No, super somethings. The money. Thanks for the money. Yes. So I don't. Oh, there's a bunch of other videos on stuff that's happening now, or that just happened. So you could still watch the Venus North Node video even though it's over, because it's going to help compare and contrast to what Venus is doing now. You could also watch their, let me see what I did, because I did a bunch of lives recently. And I have to find it. I don't ever remember what I did, and I don't remember what I say. So if I say something and you're like, you got to tell me what I said, I won't know what I said. If it's like in a video I did for you, I won't know. Oh, I need to. Okay, so I need to. Oh yeah, I did Uranus direct. Okay, so that video's up. Jupiter direct, that's still really relevant. Venus direct, or sorry, Uranus direct, Jupiter direct, and North Node Venus. Those are all my last 3 lives. So if you want to binge watch starting now, and you want to know more about the energy, those are the ones. There's a bunch of other stuff you can watch. Okay, we are done. Have a beautiful Tuesday. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy your Venus entering Aries. Let me know in a comment if what I said about your sign resonates. Let me know what it is. I always love hearing from you guys. I'll see you, beautiful souls, in the next video. Bye.